Yo, what's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads, and especially all you gardeners out there? This is Mr. Weedman and Big Earl with the Grow Hour. Big Earl, my brother, how the hell are you?
What's up? I'm good, dude. I'm good. How are you?
You know what? I'm good, man, because you came by the house yesterday and brought some treats, and we're about to get baked, baby. Baked.
My wife was hosted today. She had a couple of pretzels and a little bit of the fudge, and she was, I looked over her. I was like, yeah, she was feeling good.
We made them light for her this time. So Mrs. Weedman made some edibles, Alebrije, and welcome back. Welcome back to Alebrije for your Burpin in the Bag episode. And we're super stoked to have you on. But before we get going on this, Big Earl stopped by the house yesterday, chopped off some goodies, came with the dogs and his wife, and we hang out, smoke some joints, and the dogs, all dogs and his dogs get to play together and get a little pee break while he's driving back to where he lives in Michigan. And Mrs. Weedman came up with two new recipes, just threw one together. One's what was a chocolate covered pretzel. That's nothing, but fucking really good. Yeah, really good though. But she made a vegan style peanut butter cup.
Ooh, yeah, it was like a peanut butter infused chocolate fudge almost.
Yeah, and infused it. And Big Earl's wife is not a heavy consumer. She likes her edibles, but needs a very low dose. 5 milligrams knocks her out. Sleep. Goodbye. So I think the pretzels were about 1 milligram, and the little peanut butter cup bars, they were probably between 2 to 5 milligrams. So we're like, you could probably eat 2 or 3 of them and be good, because they're so good you want to eat more. Now, some people can eat 50 milligrams and eat 5 of those. Me, I like my 10 or so. It's good I could eat 3 of those things. So Big Girl, so your wife was knocked the hell out today.
I mean, she was knocked out, but I could see. I looked over and I was like, "Hey," she was like, "Oh yeah." So it was. She had a couple of the pretzels and a nice chunk of the fudge, and we had a nice labor-free Labor Day.
There you go. Love it. Alebrije, hey, welcome back, my friend. After we did your first show with us, and then the round table with Hummingbird, which was very successful. So thank you for that. And this is your show, Burpin in the Bag. This is the show that we bring you back on again, and you can talk about what you want to talk about. So what's been going on since the last time we talked?
Well, thanks for having me back, first off. It's been a pleasure both previous times, so I know we're going to have another good time tonight. We've got a lot going on. It's just turned into September, which is officially our Alebrije's birthday month. Our first drop. Yeah. So we're excited to kind of hit our 1 year mark as far as selling seeds. Last year, our first drop was on September 16th. So we're about 2 weeks out from hitting our 1 year mark. And it's been overwhelming, the amount of support and, the wins and losses in the grow tents. There's been a lot of failures along the way, but it's been a lot of fun. And so excited to hit that year mark. I started the projects, years before, so it's been going on for a while. But as far as selling seeds, we're feeling good about, what we've done in this first year and want to continue to grow slowly but surely. And so here we are. So on our birthday, on September 16th, we're doing a little birthday surprise, little drop, which there's not a ton of things, but we saved, all our packs are individually numbered. So we saved packs number 1 and 2 from all of our first year drops, except for the Alebrije Funk, which Hummingbird actually has pack number 1 because I collabed on it with him. So I gave him number 1. But for all the other strains, we have the pack, at least pack number 1. I think most of them we have pack number 2 as well. We saved, and so we're just going to do a little flash drop and release all those. Since all our strains are just one time, one and done, it'll be a quick chance for people to try to grab one they may have missed. We're excited about that.
Nice. What do you? I saw something. Was that do you have the Nancy Reagan one out? Did that one just come out?
The seeds? Yeah, they did just come out.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Okay. Yeah. The Nancy Reagan one that I saw. That one came out, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, it was August 1st. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That I think we kind of talked about this a little bit too on a couple of the shows, but the artwork, man, was pretty fucking fantastic. It was so cool. So is there any packs left for people out there to know about? Is there any sneaking around, laying around that didn't get scooped up?
There may be a couple sneaky packs, but I was going to mention it later. We have a little in-person drop coming up later this fall in Virginia, actually, at Homegrown VA in Richmond. And so I've also been saving a couple little random packs for that little in-person pop-up drop. So I'm not sure. We'll see where things come out. But there'll definitely be some fun rare stuff in the birthday drop, and then Mrs. Alebrije has a few little bonsai style planters she's made.
Hell yeah,
we're going to be releasing as well.
Sweet, I love it. What are you smoking on right now? I know you like your hash.
Yeah, right now I got a little 90 micron purple Zereso flower rosin. I'm just puffing it in the proxy.
Explain to our non-hash users out there what you mean by 90 microns.
So that's just like my the bags I'm using for my flower rosin. They have different micron sizes, just basically the particle size that'll flow through it. And I like 90 micron a lot for flower rosin. I think it's kind of the best of both worlds, where I'm getting a pretty like decent yield, but it's pretty clean material as well. I get a lot of like pretty blonde hash, honestly, for flower rosin. This is purple Zereso, which is actually pretty dark because it was a really purple one, and so some of the anthocyanin kind of like leaks into the oils and things. But in general, I like 90 micron. I like to press at like 180 degrees. I think the low temperature also helps get like a really nice flavor preservation and color. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Big Earl, what are you smoking on?
I am smoking on the Stanky Kush Breath today, running through a bunch of those different testers. Very strawberry-y. What about you?
And you rolled me up one yesterday. We didn't get to smoke because we smoked Mrs. Weedman strain, and I was good after that big joint that we had. But you left me a fucking honker. Yeah. And it was at the Chem Cheese Haze 22, 25? 25. That smelled. That was smelling something special.
I love that one. Yeah, it's a fun grow, real dark black flowers. Like,
yeah.
Someone told me, "Oh, it looks like Halloween." It's like, yeah, that's
true.
What it makes. There you go. But yeah, I love all those ones, dude. The whole Stanky line was nice.
Well, the taste in the high, I'm fucking. Oh, I've been ripping since 10 o'clock this morning when I woke up because it is Labor Day and I ain't got no labor going on. So I've been ripping hash since 10 a.m. and then just ripping joints all the way until now. So it's been great. It's been a great Labor Day.
Labor Day, baby.
Definitely. Yeah. So you drop by. This is good, man. This fucking 25 is, man, it's pretty heady. That's good. I like it a lot. Can't feel no pain right now.
So. My favorite thing about that Chem Cheese Haze line, at least in my hunt, is that it leans like true to the Chem Cheese or Haze. So like you get like one like I think I only had hunted I think 5 or 6 ladies, but all of them it was like, oh, I smell this one way more. Oh, I smell this one way more. I taste that one way more. I don't know. I had a lot of fun. With those.
Yeah, they're good. So Alebrije, when you're choosing your strains for hash, do you specifically grow a specific strain for hash, or do you just try new strains you're growing to impress it to see what you like, or do you have a specific way of what you want for your hash?
No, I mean, for me, it's got to just be actually tested out. There's certain times, I mean, you might, looking under a microscope at the trichome heads, you might get a good idea of how it's going to, extract or wash or press. But in general, I like to just press it and see how it goes. some of the really ones that they look incredibly frosty and oily, they just don't press well. And it turns out that they just have really long trichome stalks, and the head itself might not be that big, or it might not have the nice weak neck little trait that helps for good extracts and washers and things. And so it really, I like to just test it out for the first time. But once I do find something, or I do have a fail, that didn't yield well, I'll either stop using that, or maybe I'll grow some more of that, depending on how well it did. Because I have been leaning more towards rosin for my habits and my meds. It's just been kind of a lighter form.
Yeah. That's a huge thing when making a plant. It adds a whole another layer to creating a strain, because it's like a plant can be the most fantastic in every way, and if it's not releasing its heads, or you can't wash it, then half the people out there who are a hash person doesn't care. So yeah, that's the best ever, but it's not washing.
Yeah.
And
I have a
huge thing.
tent right now that I'm working with that's pretty much all devoted to potential washers. The reversal is my tangy Tibaguana, which has been like a proven washer. It's done really well. It's got the weak neck. It's got the big sandy trichomes. That's another great trait, is when the trichome heads don't burst in your hand, when they kind of like will leave that sandy residue. They've got a nice sheath around them, and it's a nice trait for hash. But so I'm hitting a bunch of autos actually that I know some about the lineage, some I've grown before, but all of them have like at least one of three different strains that I know to be like a strong washer, at least as one of the parents. So the idea is going for some good autos for extracts and rosin and bubble hash and whatnot.
Nice. Yeah. So are you doing the flash frozen cold water bath first and then pressing, or are you just pressing straight flour?
I'm just pressing dried flour, but
flour.
I will kind of tweak my harvest and my dry if I'm planning to press it. I definitely won't dry it that hard. You still need to dry it to get all the water and all the chlorophyll and whatnot out, but I also won't cure it super long.
Still normal 15-day dry, hanging upside down, right? Yeah. Wherever you're drying at, if like a home grower like myself, and then you don't cure it though, you put it straight to your press.
Pretty much within that next week to 2 weeks, I'm going to be pressing it after the dry is finished. It's going to go into a jar. It'll sit for about a week. It'll get burped, and but then like by the end of that week, I don't try to cure it very long if I'm going to be pressing it. On the same note, I probably chop a little bit sooner than I would for flour. I don't let a ton of amber roll in. I shoot for as much cloudy as possible, but once I start to see a few amber trichomes, I pretty much am ready for the hash. I find on the front end, before you get too much over mature heads, you get a little more terpene profile and more flavor. I think, at least in my experience, nice. in my plants. But
you get a lighter colored wax too.
Yeah, you get like a much blonder color. It saves time. I don't think you're sacrificing a lot as far as the chemistry goes. I mean, when they're turning amber, they're over mature. You've lost some terpenes and you've lost some THC and things. When they're still clear, they definitely have some terpenes. They're coming, though it might not be your full THC percentage that you were shooting for. But if you're getting like 90% cloudy and maybe 10% clear with like a couple of ambers flowing in, it makes for good rosin for sure.
Nice.
I know we're gonna get into your medical stuff and everything, but what do you have coming out? I know you're doing the 1 year celebration and everything. What males or what are we trying to reverse? What do you got coming out soon with Alebrije?
So after the 1 year, our fall drop, we've got the purple pantaranya, which is our panther spider. It's yeah, it's coming out on October 28th, so it's right around the Halloween time. It's on the full moon. But the panther spider is all about it's actually purple rockberry from rock buds, and it's crossed with my we've talked about on this show before, my Steve's purple acid, which was the purple microdot crossed with purple nuggets. So it's purple rockberry crossed with purple microdot crossed with purple nuggets, essentially in a little 3-way spin. And it tends to be a medium to narrow leaf leaning. It's got like a super piney profile. It smells like fresh cypress or Christmas trees midway through flower. So it's actually going to be kind of a nice one to have around during the holidays anyway. But by the end of it, it gets pretty sweet, and there's a lot of fruity notes come out, and into the cure of the flower, it'll actually release kind of a lot of a bubblegum kind of notes. To me, it's like fruity berry bubblegum, but very uplifting smoke, very antidepressant, anti-anxiety at low doses. If you up the dose a little bit, it can just make you kind of enjoy your day with a big smile on your face, but maybe be a little bit out of it. But it's a good one. So that's our fall drop. And then otherwise, that's it for the end of the year. Oh, excuse me. No, we do have the other one is the sticky sapollo, our chicken toad, which is an alien OG crossed with my dog walker, and it's one I've been working on for a while. It's an F3, and it's makes these big, chonky, long colas, and it's got a nice zesty lemon and funk and kind of a little bit of rubber going on. It's a really nice one. But I've enjoyed working on that for the last like year and a half, and just it's always been like on its own in a little solo side tent. So it's finally, there's only 50 packs. It's going to be that in-person release in Virginia, which I'm excited about because the artist we collabed with on it is this guy, Chronic Carrots. I don't know if you guys have seen him around. He draws these cartoons of carrots smoking weed in all different ways and things.
That's dope.
And the art is really,
so cool.
It's really cool. It's really funny. And the art, we reached out to the artist, and he agreed to do this Alebrije, this chicken toad art for us. And he lives in Virginia, so I also have family up there. So we decided to head up there November 4th to do a little pop-up and hang out with the artist at Homegrown VA and have a good time. I'm going to do a little Autoflower 101 class that day over there.
Sweet.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's dope as fuck.
And then later in November, we have our merch drop. That's becoming an annual thing now, where Mrs. Alebrije releases her Alebrije logo mugs, and I got a cool T-shirt with another artist I collabed with coming out, and we're finally releasing a hat. And always all our merch items come with like a holiday exclusive strain, a little pack of seeds. Yeah.
Oh yeah, your packs are dope as fuck. By the way, man, the artwork and all the shit I've seen you do is pretty fucking cool. You put some heavy thought in that shit, dude. It's dope.
I appreciate that. We, as do you, my big man, Big Earl. Yeah, your packs are dope too, man. But thanks. Yeah, we put a lot of time and effort into it, and the holiday ones are kind of fun because it's seeds that I'm like proud of, but we usually just don't have a ton to do a full release, so they'll kind of get spread out among the merch items. So
your pin game is strong as fuck too.
Thank you, sir.
You got some sick ass pins. I love them.
It's just been the whole idea of like combining the art with the brand and having each strain come from a different artist has really made this like collection special, because they each, they have that similarity that they're all these little creatures representing weed, but each one looks a little different and has a different style. And if you were to grow that strain, that pin kind of means something to you when you look at it. You just kind of remember your grow, remember the smoke, and it's fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I sent you the stickers, but I had this logo made at one point, and it said "Life is art," or "Your life, your art." And it was kind of like, it's something that I think we see in all your stuff, actually, is like life kind of being an art and how you live, no matter what you're doing. If you're like drawing a picture or making seeds or fixing cars or fucking working on the roads or where in a hospital, whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter really. Like how you live is an art. And it's fun to see people bring that into a ton of different aspects, like you do, like with the pottery and everything. We're going to go over some other stuff in a little bit. But one thing that you had mentioned before was an organic sustainable gardening that you've been working on. What are you doing with that? Because I know it's not just like somebody's straight program. Like you made that your art too, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this has just been sort of a slow progression into, back when I used to just grow for head stash, I started growing in some cocoa and grew some big old monster plants. And then I got more into the soil and organic side. And for a long time, I was using Nature's Living Soil autoflower concentrate, which was awesome. It's great. But I slowly started to just like make some of my own amendments and look towards some of these more DIY options like KNF, Korean Natural Farming, and Jadam. They have some similarities and some differences, but what they both have in common is that they're all about trying to make your own nutrients and microbes and things, but at an extremely low cost with pretty accessible ingredients. So I've kind of like made a few basic ones, and they've pretty much covered my bases for the most part. I'm still experimenting with it. I still, have my failures, but I'm getting better. I'm starting to learn what goes well with what, and like for example, I just start with labs lactobacillus serum, which is you just make a rice wash.
Little yeast.
Yeah, you culture
yeast,
it
right?
with some natural lactobacillus in the air. You feed it some milk. It separates, and you remove all the cheese, and then you're left with you strain out the serum. And then with that, when you mix it with equal parts brown sugar or molasses, it becomes pretty stabilized, and then you can use that for all sorts of things, like making bokashi is what I make. I just I grind up some oatmeal or some rice or whatever extra grains we have on hand, and I'll just like soak it in this it's called EM1, effective microorganisms, once you've mixed the labs with the brown sugar. And then I'll just mix that in with some ground up oatmeal and let it start to ferment. And then essentially I'll mix that into my used potting soil and let it sit in big tubs at a nice kind of temperate temperature and climate. I've got a closet where I do this. And after a few months, the microbes have sort of spread and eaten through all the excess root material, and I'm left with a nice, fluffy, organic potting soil again, which I'll throw in some worm castings and some azomite and a few things to like amend some of the micronutrients and the macronutrients and whatnot. But then I have my other things, I'll ferment comfrey with that same labs brown sugar mixture. Comfrey is just a plant I grow in my garden that reaches deep into the system with its roots and pulls up a bunch of nutrients into its leaves. So I throw that in to ferment, and it extracts all those nutrients in with microorganisms, and then I just put like a milliliter per gallon of this stuff into my watering base, and it's as simple as that, and just sort of tweaking some of the different recipes out there. But you can make calcium and nitrogen and phosphorus, and from just ingredients that are around, which is really cool.
Yeah, man, you putting like concoctions and shit together, you know, like fucking mad scientist meets witchcraft.
And we talked about comfrey, not Riley Kirk talked about it in her outdoor garden. She would grow it in her garden outside and then would cut it down. And then it breaks down in the bed. It pulls nutrients up from the ground, like from deeper than most plants' roots will reach, which is really cool. Yeah, that's badass.
Can you give like how do you find out about this? Like, where can someone like we're talking about it on the show, but if someone really wants to learn how to do this way, what do they have to read? Like, where did you go?
Mine have mostly been podcasts and things, honestly. A lot from Shaping Fire podcast. Shangola is really into the living soils and things. There's the Jadam book I have. You can download it online. The PDF is out there if you just Google the Jadam workbook or handbook or something. The recipes are out there. They're pretty simple, or some of them are. Some are more complex, but there's some really easy ones, as simple as like throwing a bunch of fruit and yard waste and things into a bucket filled with water. This is a Jadam method that's anaerobic, and it gets really, really stinky, basically. But it's essentially breaking down in an anaerobic bacteria environment. It's breaking down all those nutrients inside of those, and then you just put some of that in your water as you water the plants. And there's some pretty simple methods out there where you don't need to necessarily be buying expensive bottled ingredients. And if you're trying to make the best natural stuff, you should definitely research some of these methods.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I've told this story, but I literally stuffed a 5-gallon bucket. I had a bunch of males from a hunt. 5-gallon bucket full of weed, water, put it in there for a couple months. Spring came around. I split that up between my 4 flower beds. Didn't use any other fertilizer this year, and that shit banged out. It might have had some food from last year. Like, I didn't get it tested or anything, but I was pretty surprised. I just used the water. I threw the plant material out with my yard waste.
It's crazy what you can make. Last year, I made my first fish amino acids, which is you literally just get fish scraps and head and bones and things, which I have a bunch of friends that work at restaurants, and they gladly just gave me some for free. And you essentially just pack it really firmly in brown sugar, and you let it slowly break down and ferment. And it smells pretty gross at times. But eventually you get this nice thick liquid that you strain off, and I mix that in equal portions with my EM1 to make it stable and make it last for quite a while. It was already pretty stable. It's been fermented, but I do it to also sort of add an extra layer of microorganisms and stretch it out a little further, and it makes it easier to dilute as well. But yeah, you just sort of work with some of these basic methods, and you sort of figure out your own system, but because everyone's garden is a little different.
Does the flour take on the taste of the stuff what you're adding to it though? Like, does it, like the fish, does it get like a taste to it though? A certain kind of, does it bring out a different taste to the plant?
I don't think so. I mean, I have heard that just in general, like having a more diverse set of microorganisms essentially is going to cause a more diverse chemistry within the plant. It's going to have higher levels of terpenes, and perhaps even certain ones might show up at higher percentages that might not have shown up. So it might cause some difference in flavors or effects, but it would be very nuanced, and you'd be a real connoisseur. No, I haven't picked up any off flavors.
Yeah, so like in beer, you get off flavors from certain brewing gone wrong, or flavors that people want. And when the same thing is they're looking for flavors in cannabis, is they're adding certain types of nutrients or doing these kind of amendments and these kind of techniques at looking for different microorganisms and whatever you're adding to that soil. Is there a way to like get a taste that you're looking for, a certain terpene level, or maybe some different terps that you're not normally seeing out there? And I don't know, is there a way to mock that towards your soil to get the different flavors you want? I mean, there is techniques like that they use for produce, right?
Yeah. I'm not on that level where I'm tweaking my flavors through my nutrients, but yeah.
But is there? I mean, can you? I'm just asking. Is there people
theory,
doing that, or can it be done?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, I don't know. I think it would be like a combination of selective breeding with the highest quality of living soil and the most complex mycorrhizal and living soil food web basically going on. You will get a different level of terpenes and things, but as far as like guiding it towards a certain flavor, that seems, or a certain aroma profile, that seems more like selective breeding to me. I'm not sure. Well, I mean, who knows? Like a certain microbe might trigger a certain terpene. Like we are not that far along. I definitely am no like scientist on that sort of level, but honestly, it's fascinating what we don't know. I think there's some interesting research going on. I'm sure that'd be a really curious one. Yeah, what exactly is the soil makeup doing for the terpene makeup?
Yeah.
I mean, as pollen chuckers, as the two of you are, when you take two different strains, two different breeds, and you're cloning them together or breeding them together, you're looking for a specific type of flavor profile, right? Terpene profile, flavonoid profile, ester profile, certain kind of look to that plant too. You're expecting from that grow, like from that cross pollination breeding. I mean, there's got to be a way to manipulate the plant in that breeding to get the flavor you're looking for. Right?
Yeah. Like that's what I meant. That's what I meant through like selective breeding is like, crossing certain things to create a certain flavor that you might expect. Which I think that's what a lot of people are out there doing. Hence a lot of these crazy names that come out. I think someone wanted to create like, people want these candy flavors or these, super citrusy flavors or whatever, tropical, And like a lot of times, like terpenes are a big part of what guide my breeding program. It's all about thinking about what might these make together or which one might dominate the other, but I still want that trait from, the mom or the pollen donor.
Right.
Yeah, it's always imagining in your head what it's going to be like beforehand. That's
right. Once a home grower buys your breed, though, buys your strain that you created, their flavor is going to be a little bit different than what you have created because they're using different soil, different nutrients, different light, whatever, to be able to get it's not really always going to mirror exactly the flavor that you created unless they're doing exactly what you're doing.
Exactly. And even then it's like there is some phenotypic variation and some chemotypic variation going on, but yes, every little micro difference in their environment versus mine is going to cause some differences in the expression. Hell, I mean, even if I grow 12 of the same one in the exact same tent with the exact same regimen, I'm going to get some differences. It's just the nature of growing from seed. I mean, that's our job as the breeders to try to dial it in and try to let the consumer know what to expect. But it doesn't always work like that. But that's the fun of popping seed, in my opinion, versus just a known cutting or clone. It can have a little adventure side to it, but hopefully,
I love it.
If it's good genetics, you'll know you can expect something good at least.
So speaking of genetics and what you've been doing, I got real super excited the last time we talked and we had you on. We were talking about your medically based vision and what you were creating and your miracle plant genetics. So tell us about this now. I couldn't wait to get back. I couldn't wait to get you back on the show to hear about this. And because like I said, I think we talked to after the show about how I said he who can create something like this and get more of the cannabinoids in the plant and breed them back in or breed higher levels of them or be able to manipulate plants into breeding. Hey, listen, this person doesn't want THC in his plant or her plant. They want more of these cannabinoids instead. He who can do that, or she who can do that one day. So I'm stoked, dude. Tell us what's been going on with this and your miracle plant genetics. I know last time we talked a little about the CBDV. I'm like, let's go. Tell us. Give me the meat and potatoes. I'm waiting.
Yeah. So the basics of miracle plant is for Alebrije, I was doing some mixed ratio strains. I was doing some CBD and even some CBG projects. And I released one, the Balanced Gatuga, and it was awesome. And it had a lot of people were into it, and I was kind of surprised. I wasn't so sure how many. Sometimes we assume everyone just wants to get as high as possible, in this culture in the weed community. But no, people definitely appreciate their mixed ratios, and I was really thrilled with the response of the CBD project because I personally enjoy using them. They have their time of day or their evening, uses, and so I wanted to work on more of them. But I see Alebrije as more of this fun recreational side paired with the art a lot, and it's fine to throw in a mixed ratio here or there, but I wanted to start making like a lot of them. Like you said, I wanted to start going wild with my experiments and throwing every, various like high percentage, cannabinoid autoflower I could find on the market, kind of throw them into the mix. And so I've sort of been collecting some of the more high CBG and high CBD autos out there. And so far, I've mostly done CBD work with just like individual CBG plants, and I haven't released any of those yet. But I've got a few in testing now that, if all go well, they might come out by the end of the year, which I'm excited about. CBG is where I just think there's so much potential, forward thinking, that I think we're just going to want more high CBG dominant cultivars around for medicinal purposes. And
has it been easy to breed the CBG because it is the beginning stages of all cannabinoids to be able to stop? How do you get to where that CBG? It's the mother. So, I mean, you don't let it go any further to get to those other cannabinoids like THC and CBD. Do you stop it? Like, how is the process? Because that's so amazing that you can get so much more out of it, or gaining to get that.
So that's the typical process. It's the precursor cannabinoid to all CBD CBD and THC and whatnot. But through selective breeding, there are now cultivars that will just finish at high CBG numbers. And so again, like, I'm riding on the shoulders of giants here. Other people have put in that work. So these exist out on the market. You can go find some high CBG autoflowers. So the ones I'm working with are from Hoku Seed Company out in Washington State. There's
fantastic seed company. I run home.
Yeah, he's a really cool dude. He just gave me these a few years back, and I've been like slowly incorporating them into projects and trying them out. And CBG is really interesting. It's there because the trichome heads themselves are just not sticky. They're very brittle, and it's almost like that sandy hash trichome head quality I was talking about earlier. They just don't bust, and there's no, it's not a sticky quality. So you kind of know it's there in decent quantities. But Grow the Revolution. I've got some as well, CBG Force from Dutch Passion. But I'm planning to this is my next run after my current finishes, is going to be a CBG film run with pretty much all the cultivars I've worked thus far, incorporating Hoku's CBG into it. So I'm going to back cross it, as well as hit some of these other full CBG dominant cultivars. And these are testing at, 15 to 18% in the buds, and
hell yeah,
around like 8% in the larf and the trim and things. So it's not.
That's good, man.
They're no slouch.
That's substantial right there.
Yeah. So that's where I really want to focus my attention. But at the same time, there's also going to be a lot of my mixed CBD projects and high CBD projects in with these sorry, I'm getting tongue twisted over saying CBG and CBD, but CBG, cannabigerol, is going to be the fem pollen donor, and it's hitting a lot of other cannabigerol strains, but there are also going to be some cannabidiol CBD strains in the mix as well. And a lot of these are mixed ratios with THC strains I've already made. So the goal is essentially what you were talking about, is trying to develop the most complex and various levels of these ratios, while at the same time, then we'll be sending them out at various generations once I've tested them and we're happy with them. And then along with it goes a questionnaire for the grower patient who's using it. And after they fill out that questionnaire, they get their freebie strain. And we also have a guy who's accepting flower samples for testing. So they get an additional second freebie strain if they send in their flower for testing. So we plan to kind of compile all this data over the next however long, I don't even want to say a time, 5 years, 10 years, who knows? This is sort of just open-ended, but the idea is to like make a bunch of these, get them out there, have them tested, get feedback on them, see what's working, and the things that are working and hitting well with people, those are those strains we'll work further and try to like dial in specific traits until we're kind of left with maybe 3 to 5 strains that are just, these are our new medicine cabinet, basically the miracle plant genetics cabinet. And this is great for this problem. This is great for this problem, at least in the general population. There's obviously always, paradoxes and outliers and whatnot, but
you were super stoked about the CBDV you were talking about last time when we had you on the show with the hummingbird. You were really geeked about that.
Yeah, so that's actually going on in a little guerrilla grow, and I was worried about it because the parent plant of that, it's also from Hoku Seed Company. It's called Patient Pine, and it was a CBDV to CBD 1-to-1. And apparently it was found out of a triploid seed, and triploids are bred to not have sterile pollen. And so after I started this, I was like, oh shit, wait, like, is because that's like a descendant of a triploid, is that gonna like screw me over? But no, this was like a freak occurrence, like 1 in 40,000 that this guy's triploid actually gave out viable pollen. And he made this Patient Pine, and mine is confirmed successful. It's actually making seeds out there. So I'm F2ing his Patient Pine as well as hitting a bunch of my strains and Gamma Cheese as well from Hummingbird, to just kind of do some more THC, CBD, CBDV mixed ratios. Hopefully, we'll see what we get.
Nice.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
That's a great vision right there, man.
Yeah, it's a lofty long-term thing, but the goal is to just try to help people along the way. I don't think we're doing any harm along the way. Trying to help people find, what cannabinoid profile might work best for their certain ailment or whatever.
I mean, I love CBG. I mean, I was laid up for about 6 days 2 weeks ago. My back went out, and I just took a CBG gummy twice a day and a THC gummy twice a day, and then smoked the hell out of some hash and every other smoke I smoked. But that CBG is great, man. It took that inflammation away. Like, it got me not to 100% right away. I mean, I was on my ass, but I was able to get up to go to the bathroom. Let's just put it that way.
No, it's great for pain, inflammation, anxiety, those type of things. But I think like the real promise with CBG is in its like ability to fight cancer cells, and it's like it acts like THC in that it'll actually kill and eliminate some of these cancer cells in extremely high doses. But that's where THC it's rough for these cancer patients to like take the high doses of Rick Simpson oil or whatnot necessary to actually start like combating and killing off these cells. But they basically just have to do it at night because they kind of just go comatose. They get so high. But with CBG, in theory, it's not non-intoxicating. So you can take super high doses throughout the day, and it's got a lot of promise for cancer and as an antibiotic that won't build up resistance as current pharmaceutical antibiotics do. So
love it. I was saying, man, I wish
super
I could
cool
take
applications.
More. Yeah. I was taking 20 milligrams a day. I swore I could probably take about 50 to 100 milligrams to really get the real good dosage of it. So I'm looking forward to getting some of that from you one day.
Hell yeah! No, it won't be long. Hopefully, our first THC CBG will be out by. I'm testing it now. If I like it, it'll be coming out by the end of the year.
Sweet. Hell yes, dude. Supervision, man. I love it.
I don't know. I hope this isn't like a super rookie question. If somebody took large amounts of THCA, do they still find themselves getting? Does that still fight cancer like you were just talking? And people find themselves getting high still, or do we know that?
THCA. So THCA is an interesting one that like your liver enzymes can end up causing it to still convert into 11-hydroxy THC. Which is what happens with edibles in general. I've actually, one time in Australia, I was getting on a flight and I realized I had weed on me and I just like ate the raw weed. And I didn't think I was going to feel much, but then I got into Melbourne and we're like driving out to this restaurant out in the country and I just start getting like one of the highest I've ever gotten in my life. And I wasn't expecting it at all, which was a fun little surprise, but, so no, I couldn't speak to that honestly. Like most of what I know as far as the cancer research and whatnot is all via the research of Dr. Ethan Russo. Just listening to him on podcasts and watching him on YouTube and stuff talking about it is where I've learned about it.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I don't know why I had that random thought. I just like Keef pills or some shit. I don't know.
I mean, who knows? You know, and CBGA is also the precursor of CBG. So it's also being studied quite a bit at the moment. I think we're still not able to like fully grasp the potential of these, but they're starting to, you know, come into clear picture of I think at least the people working for the pharmaceutical companies are clearly studying and researching the potential of some of these.
Yeah, it's a fun time, dude. Even for growing, you were talking about flavor before and changing it and stuff, and it's like all our advancements in organics from like really just our new ways of breaking down organic foods, from yeast to funguses to bacterias to we've like harvested and created all of them for, you know, to be purchased and to use or to make yourself. And it's badass. People didn't learn a lot of that not too long ago, you know.
It's true. I mean, as many problems as the internet has, it's got the great, you know, spread of information where we're learning and using these, you know, techniques that have been used for thousands of years, but then other people just never had that access to the information.
The internet, all on how you use it. You use it for good, you use it for nothing, you use it for fucking shit. So it all depends on how you use it. Yeah.
Use it for good.
So what else is going on, bro? Like I saw some stuff on you were down doing some puppy stuff. You showed like a cool ass pottery little attachment for your little rig there. I don't know, what was that piece again?
Yeah, the wife cool. Is working on some new pieces to fit the Puffco Proxy. They're ceramic.
That's dope.
So dope.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah. We got a lot going on. On the same her ceramics note, she's got these bonsai planters coming out. I think I forgot to mention, but we have a little canna bonsai grow along going on Instagram and Discord that just started. So that's another thing we got going on. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch people's different pots they choose and the different little training techniques they employ and whatnot. So I'm growing a little mini Blue Zaressa one myself.
So how do you bonsai it? Do you like low light, low food, or how do you bonsai it? Do you use autos?
Using autos, and in the grow along, it's all Alebrije strain, so everyone's using autos.
Nice.
So autos just have that short lifespan, and B, use a small pot. So our requirement is it has to be a half gallon or smaller, and the one I'm using is probably like a liter at most. So just when the root hits the bottom, it'll still have a small stretch, but they stay pretty small. So it's really fun. It's the whole idea behind it is to just not really worry about the yield, not worry about the grow. It's just to have fun and mess around with it. Try a new technique you haven't tried. Try a new training. Top it if you want, or bend it over to the side. Or I've done ones where I planted it on top of like a crystal and had the roots growing over it, and then kind of like removed a little solo cup and washed off the excess soil to show the exposed root growing over the crystal and things. It's just a time to have fun that you wouldn't normally do in your grow, where you're focused on growing your stash or your medicine or whatnot. This is just for fun, and it's honestly makes a really nice little aesthetic. Once mine's to a pretty good point, I usually like take it out of the tent and just bring it in the kitchen, and we let it sit for its last month. Sometimes we don't even smoke it. Sometimes it's just literally just for visual appeal, to have around. They're really fun to just watch grow.
Sweet.
Like your solo cup, Mr. Weedman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Solo cup.
Solo cup's fair game. Might not have the full, aesthetic we're going for, but
I got a little solo cup guy in my window. That it's been there. It was a clone, and Big Earl and I were talking yesterday about it. I didn't have a setup to do clones, so I just tried it, and they went a budding because I was in flower. So I took one of them and I put it on my windowsill, and the shit's still there, growing, still budding, still looking pretty. It's what I got growing right now, a little window clone in a solo cup.
That's what I do. Yeah, I'll move it to like a window in the kitchen, and it'll just sit there for a while. And it's fun, don't you enjoy just looking at it? Yeah.
Every morning, so I can get a little water. Yeah, it's nice. I'll probably, because I got my next grow coming here in a couple weeks, so getting the tent ready and stuff. Everything's all dried up and everything's done with drying and stuff and in jars, so I can start my next grow. I'm gonna grow that Alebrije strain that Big Earl there has given me some beaners, so I'm excited. Yeah,
I've
super
seen
stoked.
Pictures of the ones I got going. They're fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Plug away, man. Plug away. Tell us what you got coming up, where we can find you, what's your tags, your handles, and dude, it's super, super great to have you back on for Burpin in the Bag, man. It was fucking awesome. I just got to get baked on this show, so it was great.
It was a blast. Love chatting CBG, love chatting organic gardening, all my favorites. We got our birthday drop coming up in 2 weeks on the 16th. You can find it on our website, AlebrijeGenetics.com. And I want to shout out to you guys. Shout out to Big Earl. I forgot to mention I've got some of Earl's plants in my tent right now. So they were regs. So I've ditched the males, and I've got one really good looking peach stomper, and I've got two Florida peaches that are looking really nice as well.
Oh, that's a good strain. I got some on my table right now in a jar, looking at me with my name written all over it. Yeah, that's a good strain. Really good.
Those are going to be getting hit with my tangy Tibaguana, so I'm pretty excited for those.
I got a couple years going too. But the I'm a bad plant dad. The JKF2, I can't remember what the JK stands for.
Oh, that's the Juicy Clan.
Yeah. Bro, all of them are looking really, really, really nice.
Nice.
So I'm excited for those for sure. I might throw one in a tent and try to reverse one of the other ladies.
Hell yeah.
Excuse me.
But sorry. I just wanted to shout Big Earl out he sent me a bunch of beans recently. So as I was going through my shout outs, he was top of the list. But But yeah, no, just thanks to you guys. We've got the fall drop coming up, then the homegrown Virginia drop in November 4th, then our merch drop November 27th. And yeah, join our bonsai grow line. Appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Holiday gift season just in time for the holidays, man. I love it. Yeah. Alebrije, hey, man, we love having you on, man. We appreciate you, brother. We really do. Come back on again for Burpin the Bag. And we look forward to talking to you more in the future and seeing what you got coming out. And like I said, we'll never know what happens sometime next year. Maybe we'll have you back on again for something else. It'd be fucking great figuring out, especially learn about the medical miracle stuff I'm excited about.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah, anytime.
Appreciate it. Big Earl, man, you got anything else to say?
Guys, I know you're probably tired of hearing it. I'm going to keep preaching it, though. You can't forget your cow mag. Add it, triple it, double it, whatever you need. You're going to see progress.
Everybody out there in the world, don't forget the cow mag. Peace! Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.